Hello, Conan229 here with another Topic of the Week video. This week I'll be talking about Halloween! Yeah, I know this is a little out of season, but I was busy doing Resident Evil for Halloween month. This week's topic was submitted by Tumblr user helbertinelli, and her topic is, can you talk about your favorite Halloween episode from TV shows/cartoons? A lot of shows, particularly Western shows, do Halloween episodes, ranging from live-action shows to even cartoons. Some of them are done in more of the style of a horror story, where the characters, usually you'll have a character telling it, or it's simply a story done with the characters from the show. Sometimes it's more of just something that takes place around Halloween. But there's only one real Halloween special that I've actually found really memorable, and one that I actually really liked. It's the Summerween episode from Gravity Falls. Well, it's technically not a Halloween episode since it takes place in the summer. It always stuck out to me because Summerween is something very specific to Gravity Falls. It already kind of makes it a little more memorable. It's basically just a Halloween, but during the summer. Summerween. It's pretty self-explanatory. But not only did I like the concept of that, but like I said, I just find that episode more memorable than pretty much every other Halloween special that I've seen. Ever since I was a kid, when I'm watching the shows, sometimes rewatching it, a lot of Halloween specials just don't stick with me. And I mean, I remember kind of some of them, but frankly, I've never been super into horror. So some of the times when they would dip into some horror, even if it was just very light, particularly Disney shows, it's I don't know. It's just, nothing ever really stuck with me. I never really felt particularly interested or invested in those stories, but I really liked the one in Gravity Falls. I honestly remember that episode very vividly. And I think maybe a part of it is because in Gravity Falls, they already deal with a lot of supernatural, conspiracy theory type stuff. So you can tell a pretty crazy story within the confines of, the existing plot of Gravity Falls. You can come up with all sorts of crazy, wacky stuff. But another reason I like it is because it really does a lot in building up one of the core, little subplots throughout the series. And that is Mabel and Dipper's sort of the growing divide between them. And of course, it's really minor because they always dressed up with matching Halloween costumes since they were twins. And while Mabel's 100% down for doing that, Dipper would rather go to try to impress his crush. He wants to not do it because he feels it might be a little too kiddie. Not inherently because he hates it, but more so that he's trying to appear grown up, and when he's next to kids that are older than him, it feels embarrassing. So it's one of the big, sort of conflicts throughout the show, and then you have the monster, which I found it was kind of interesting. He looks creepy like a scarecrow until you find out that he's actually the thrown out candy. That, the crappy stuff that no one likes to eat. It's not the Hershey's, it's not the, Reese's and Twix. It's just the crappy candy that everyone throws away. It amalgamated into this monster. So that was kind of an interesting idea. So it definitely fits into what Gravity Falls normally does with its wackiness. But, I also really liked it because it was building up the characters. And this is something I like a lot about Gravity Falls over its 2 seasons, is that you have these episodes that build up so when you get to the season 2 finale, and you get to Weirdmageddon, when all that comes to a T and you actually have Dipper and Mabel actually sort of reconnecting properly and sort of giving closure on that, they don't have to completely give up everything, but it's growing up, and it's something that happens, and Mabel can't just keep clinging on to the old, what they did when they were kids. But and it's interesting to see this throughout the show, when it's you different episodes that sort of point out, okay, well maybe there's going to be some conflict here, and you have Grunkle Stan saying things about how, oh, they get along together too well. Or basically any of the times when Dipper will go off to do something particularly to impress Wendy. And sometimes leave Mabel in the dust. And they'll get into, of course, wacky hijinks ensue, and that's one of the interesting things about Gravity Falls is the wacky hijinks ensue part. And in the Summerween episode, wacky hijinks do ensue, and Dipper does end up having to go basically trick-or-treating with Mabel to do the thing that he didn't want to do because certain doom will come. And it just felt, I don't know why, maybe it's just, it just felt distinct to me. It felt distinct and memorable in ways that other Halloween specials were. I remember there was an Even Stevens, yeah, remember that show? Episode that was I don't know if it was a proper Halloween episode. It's been a while. It's been a long time since I watched that show. But, you know, I remember just not liking it when I was a kid, and looking back, I just, not really into it. And like I said with other shows, I just don't really remember them. Like, I find so many Halloween specials not memorable. Now, I know certain shows like The Simpsons do more, more well-known, Halloween specials, but I've never watched The Simpsons. So, for shows like that, I mean, I'm not saying that, there aren't other great Halloween specials and episodes out there. I probably haven't watched them because I'm just not into those shows. But for me, specifically, I'd like to say that the Summerween episode was my favorite Halloween episode of any show I've ever seen. Something that was in line with the show. We didn't have to make up any kind of story. It didn't have to be like, okay, this character is telling a story within the story. It's like, no, there legitimately is a monster that's made of candy. And no, it's going to try to eat them. That episode also had some good humor in it. I particularly like that one scene where they're in the Halloween store and Seuss sees one of those little, I think it was a little bowl and had the skull in it, and you tap it and it says something. And he just couldn't resist from pressing it. And it seems stupid when you think about it logically, but I know that feeling. And you see it and it says it's something like ridiculous and you're just like, I gotta press it, and you want to press all of them. It's like, it's a thing you did when you were a kid, and honestly, sometimes I do like to do that, and then have it, start saying it's whatever stupid canned catchphrase. I also liked how they resolved it by Seuss eating the monster and all the candy just because, oh wow. Yeah, that's certainly a way to deal with it. Seuss just eats it. But, yeah, I also liked that one bit with, Grungle Stan, trying to impress those kids who just, like, they're used to all sorts of, stuff on the internet now, and Stan seems to have never seen a jump scare before. It's some good humor, and it's a little funny thing to see Stan to do, while in sort of a B or C plot, really. Overall, I felt it was a really enjoyable episode, and even for me, who I'm not really as big on, Halloween episodes, I quite liked the Summerween episode. I really don't think there's a whole lot more to say about it, so I think I'm gonna end this one here. So, if you want to submit a topic to me, you can comment below if you're on YouTube, or if you're on Tumblr, you can send me an ask and put topic, then whatever topic you want me to talk about. Just make sure to follow the rules that I'll be posting down below. If you want to watch last week's topic video, you can check that out here. If you want to watch next week's topic video, you can check that out here when I get that done. So are there any Halloween specials or episodes from shows that you really loved? Please comment below. And thank you for watching.